Welcome to the Widows Collective, where grief meets hope, healing, and community. I'm Lauren Lentz, grief coach, fellow widow, and the heart behind this space. There is life before loss, and then there is life after. If you're here, it likely means your life has been turned upside down by the death of your person. Maybe you've just found yourself in this new world that feels unrecognizable, or maybe you've been walking it for a while, trying to figure out what healing looks like now. I want you to know you are not alone. This podcast is a gathering place for widows living in the after. Together, we'll name the ache, honor the love, and share tools, truths, and stories that help you feel supported along the way. My hope is that every episode gives you a sense of community, comfort, and permission to meet yourself exactly where you are. Hello, and welcome back to episode 18, The Love That Still Lives Here. As we move into February, the month that tends to orbit around love, connection, romance, and togetherness, I wanted to offer a different kind of conversation, one that feels more honest, more spacious, and more inclusive of grief. Because for many widows, this month can feel really complicated. Valentine's Day might bring up memories of how love used to be expressed, cards you exchanged, traditions you shared. Or maybe it highlights the absence, the empty space where love once had a very tangible form to reside. So today, I want to talk about the love that still lives here. Not the kind that fades, not the kind that rushes you forward, but the kind that remains quietly, fiercely, and faithfully, even after loss. One of the sharpest realizations after losing a partner is this: love doesn't disappear when they do. The relationship changes, the form changes, but the bond remains, and no one can really prepare you for that. So when your person is gone, we're often left holding questions we never expected to have to ask. How do I carry this love forward without them here? What do I do with all this unexpressed love that I'm feeling? How do I cherish the love we had without living in the past? February has a way of amplifying those kind of questions. Everywhere you look, love is being presented as something external: flowers, cards, dinners, plans, love as performance, love as something you do with someone. We often talk about grief only as pain. And yes, it is painful, but underneath that pain is love. Love that has nowhere obvious to go anymore. Love that still wants to be expressed. Love that still lives in your body. Love that still moves quietly through your days. It's why grief hurts the way it does. Not because you're weak, but because love didn't leave when your person did. And that can leave a deep ache. Grief reveals something else too. Love isn't just something we exchange. It's something we carry. And realizing that can feel confusing, even unsettling, because love doesn't only live in memory. It lives in your nervous system, in habits your body still remembers, in the way you reach for them without thinking, in the way your chest tightens or softens at certain moments of the day. Grief shows up in the body as exhaustion, as restlessness, as heaviness you can't quite name. Your body is still in relationship, even when the person you love is no longer here in the same way. And when love continues to live in us like that, quietly, physically, faithfully, it can bring up a new kind of uncertainty. Somewhere along the way, many widows start to internalize a quiet fear. And often that fear doesn't come from inside of us at first. It comes from the world around us, from subtle comments, from timelines we didn't ask for, from the way people celebrate strength, but grow uncomfortable with continued love. So we start wondering if our grief has an expiration date, if our devotion needs to quiet down, if carrying love forward somehow means we're refusing to heal. But healing doesn't require amputation. It requires integration. Moving forward doesn't mean walking away from love. It means learning how to walk with it in a body and a life that look different now. It means reimagining how love lives through you. Because love isn't a finite resource, doesn't belong only to the past, and it doesn't have an expiration date tied to someone's physical presence. And because love doesn't disappear, but also doesn't look the same, many widows find themselves in unfamiliar territory. After loss, love often becomes something you have to rediscover, sometimes slowly, sometimes painfully. At first, love might only show up as longing or suffering or memory. It might not feel warm or comforting at all. Sometimes love shows up as resistance to the part of you that doesn't want anything new touching what is sacred. Sometimes it shows up as comparison, measuring every connection against something that can't be replicated. And sometimes it shows up quietly, in moments you don't expect to feel okay and then immediately feel guilty for it. All of that is part of rediscovering love, not as something you chase, but as something you slowly learn how to allow again, piece by piece. It might look like the way you still talk to them, the way certain songs feel like a conversation, the way your body softens when you remember something good, the way their influence still shapes your choices. And eventually, if and when you're ready, love may begin to stretch outward again, not instead of them, but because of them. Life after loss asks something unfair of us, to carry love forward without the person we built it with. That means love may need to be recreated, not recreated as romance or as replacement, but recreated as meaning, connection, presence, and care. And that might look like deepening friendships, leaning into people who see you, who allow you to grieve openly, and who remind you that connection doesn't vanish even when the person you loved is gone. It might look like a stronger relationship with yourself, learning how to hold your own hand, speaking kindly to your own heart, and honoring your needs without guilt or apology. Maybe it's a renewed sense of purpose, discovering ways to move through life that feel aligned with your values, your passions, or even your curiosity about the world. Creative expression, finding channels to express love and grief together, writing, music, art, or even cooking a meal that carries memory and meaning. In community, joining spaces where your experience is reflected and understood, where you're not alone in holding this new version of love. Or even love that surprises you one day in unexpected ways, reminding you that your heart still has capacity even after loss. And if this month and Valentine's Day brings up resistance to all of that, if it feels heavy, hollow, or impossible, that's okay. You don't have to force yourself into celebrations or traditions that don't feel right. Recreating love isn't about replacing what you lost. It's about giving yourself permission to feel the ways love can still exist in memory, in action, in new experiences, and in the ways you care for yourself and others. Something that's really hard about Valentine's Day is how narrowly love is defined, as if love only counts when it's romantic, or only matters when it's mutual, visible, and current. February has a way of making that pressure feel louder. Heart-shaped reminders everywhere, public celebrations of couplehood, messages, ads, even well-meaning friends that unintentionally say, this is what love should look like. But grief allows us to see through a lens that is so much more than that. It reminds us that love isn't only about presence, it's about imprint. The love you shared didn't end when they did. It became a part of who you are. It lives in your body, your mind, in your choices, in the ways you navigate the world. And that still counts, even if no one else can see it. Love is bigger than the cultural version of romance. It lives in memory, the quiet moments you shared that keep replaying in your mind. It lives in legacy, the ways your person shaped who you are today, the lessons, values, and ways of being that carry forward. It lives in how you carry them forward, traditions, rituals, small gestures that honor what was shared. It lives in how you care for yourself now, the ways you nurture yourself in the absence of their physical presence. It lives in the nervous system, the imprint of safety, love, and connection you learn with them, and the ongoing work of relearning and cultivating safety within yourself and others. And none of that disappears just because the calendar turned to February. None of that disappears just because society says love has to look a certain way. Grief teaches us that love is expansive. It doesn't require validation from anyone else. It doesn't need to be seen, spoken, or performed. It exists as a part of your life, part of your story, and a part of who you continue to be. Here's an invitation for this month. You don't have to decide what love looks like for the rest of your life. You don't have to define it in this moment. You don't have to make it coherent or hopeful or forward moving. You only have to notice how love is showing up right now. Maybe love looks like grief, raw, aching, heavy. Maybe it looks like tenderness towards memories, toward yourself, toward the life you didn't ask for. Or numbness, a kind of emotional quiet that helps you get through the day. Maybe it looks like survival, putting one foot in front of the other and calling that enough. All of that still counts. The love that still lives here doesn't need to be fixed, redirected, or explained. It doesn't need to become something else to be acceptable. You need to give yourself that permission slip to allow it to exist exactly as it is in this season, in this body, in this moment. Please know that if February feels heavy for you, you're not alone. If Valentine's Day feels triggering or strange, you're not broken. Never forget, love didn't leave when your person did. Change shape, and you're still learning how to live alongside it day by day, moment by moment. As this month unfolds, let this be enough. Be gentle with yourself as you navigate what arises. You don't need to make sense of what you feel for it to be valid. You don't need to perform healing or prove resilience. You only have to be honest about where you are. However love shows up for you this month, through grief, tenderness, longing, or even numbness, maybe relief, maybe peace, it all belongs. And so do you. And if you're looking for a place to process these questions, to be in community with others who truly understand, my group program Reimagine begins mid-March. You can find more information and testimonials from women who have walked this path before you at laurenlentz.com under the Reimagine tab. If you join the interest list, you'll receive an email from me with more details as we get closer. Until next time, big hugs and lots of love. You've been listening to The Widows Collective. I'm Lauren Lentz, and it means so much to me that you spent this time here today. If you found comfort or connection in today's episode, I invite you to please subscribe, leave a rating, or share it with someone who might need a little support. You can also follow me on Instagram at I'm Sorry We're Friends and join my email list at laurenlentz.com to explore my one-to-one grief coaching, group program, retreats, and other tools designed to help widows navigate loss with understanding and guidance. I hope you'll join me next week for another conversation where we'll continue exploring grief, healing, and ways to reimagine life after loss. I'm sorry you're here, and I'm so grateful that you are. Thank you for being a part of this community. Your presence is an act of courage and self-compassion, and I'm honored to walk this path alongside you.